can't take it anymore. My mind's about to go to war. I need someone to save me from myself, to hear me cry when I call out for help. I blame it on the voices that are in my head, wondering if they'll ever be put to bed. Feels like I am close to reaching my wit's end, holding out but I'm about to blow it up like a volcano. Another day to lose control. There's a fire in my bones. My sight gets blurry, pushing back the tears. Should take a leap of faith and face my fear. I blame it on the voices that are in my head, wondering if they'll ever be put to bed. Feels like I am close to reaching my wit's end, holding out but I'm about to blow it up like a volcano. Like a volcano. Blow it up like a volcano. What you do, what you do, what you do to me? Can't you see what it means when you set me free? What you do, what you do, what you do to me? Can't you see what it means when you set me free? Got drunk off your love, and I lost myself again. You hit just like a drug. This time I won't let you in. You're playing with fire. No, I didn't, I'm the prey. But this time I won't collapse like I did yesterday. You broke my heart once again. I won't buy the dust in return. I can't give it, I can't give it, I won't give in this time. You broke my heart once again. Well, you're bad, but you're bad it for me. I can't give it, I can't give in. I've already run with the wolves. Far from the light of the day. I can't go back to you, I'm stronger today. Been to the dark side of the moon. So if you wanna shoot far away, I won't go back to you. I'm stronger, I'm stronger, I'm stronger today. I'm stronger today. Tú tienes la pócima para enloquecerme, pero voy a draw the line. Que yo ya sé que es de ti. I got to stay away, got to stay away. Sé que como un trofeo quieres tenerme, pero I don't need no one. Que yo ya sé que es de ti. I got to stay away, got to stay away. No, 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 baby, no, 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 no setbacks. No, 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 baby, no, 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 this time. You broke my heart once again. I won't buy the dust in return. I can't give it, I can't give it, I won't give in this time. You broke my heart once again. Well, you're bad, but you're bad it for me. I can't give in, I can't give in. I've already run with the wolves. Far from the light of the day. I can't go back to you, I'm stronger today. Been to the dark side of the moon. So if you wanna shoot far away, I won't go back to you. I'm stronger, I'm stronger, I'm stronger today. I'm stronger today.
All right, hello. Hopefully this is working all right. Sorry for the delay, everybody. You might notice that this is not our regularly scheduled programming. We've got some mid-game Georgia Tech versus Brown action going on, and before we do get into the game, want to give a big shout out to anyone who's waiting the extra couple of minutes while we did get this game queued up, and you know, apologize for any delay. I mean, last minute reschedules do happen in this league, and it's kind of rough to play around, but it's not too much that we can do in that front. But looks like we are hopping into a pretty good game. I haven't really had time to check out what's going on in this one so far. I did just open it up myself, hearing that reschedule was coming through, UBC versus UCLA, or excuse me, not a reschedule, but actually going to be a forfeit from UCLA. Actually called that one in about 15 to 30 minutes ago, so not the easiest time for my scheduling, but who really cares about that one? We're gonna have Georgia Tech versus Brown. Just gonna let people know that this is going on here. Wow, the nice gank comes through actually. Durano's in a lot of trouble here, and with all the members of Brown, they're able to pick him off, so sorry, hang on, I'm fixing things. Promise. All is not really that well, but that's okay. We're now into the game, I promise. That's all I've got for this one. And the fight's going wrong for Georgia Tech. We did see Cephos coming with the Ravage, but it was kind of over-ambitious. Gonna end up finding a return kill potentially on Gion, but no, able to charge up back to the high ground. And more Georgia Tech heroes getting cleaned up. 12 to 12 here in 19 minutes, and it's going to be a good time to introduce these teams. Georgia Tech is so far undefeated on the season, and Brown, well, they're hanging around that fourth place barrier out in the East, really fighting for that last slot. And going into today, it looks like Indiana might be kind of holding on to that fourth place slot. In between the games, we will hold off on our regularly scheduled break and kind of talk a little bit more about the context between these teams, as it's always a weird one to jump into these games mid-game. I do apologize, it throws me off my rhythm, and you know, I think it throws everything off a little bit, but really all the context that you need going into this one, at least this early stage, is that Georgia Tech is historically, between this season and last, shown to be one of the premier teams in the league. Brown, not necessarily in that same tier that we think of. I mean, you think of the East Coast teams that were really slated to potentially win this league this season, and you think of Georgia Tech, you think of USF, the South Florida, you think of the University of Toronto, and Brown wasn't really in that same caliber, and they followed it up. I believe they're 2-3 on the season so far as well, so a couple of tough losses for them, but all will be forgiven should they find a huge win here against Georgia Tech. This is game number 1, so we haven't missed too much of the series this far, just about the first 20 minutes of game number 1. Still, it's Brown coming in with the momentum. Georgia Tech struggling a little bit through this early game. We see the Roche being taken. Not the fastest Roche coming through from Brown, but see if Georgia Tech can't make it in time. They're in with the smoke, but Nicola scouts him out nicely. He'll be willing to tank the gank for his team as long as they can pick off this Aegis. So now the real question is, how's the fight going to go on the back end? Buyback comes out immediately. A great job disrupting that smoke. Georgia Tech desperately trying to get in with the Rabbit to find the lasso as well onto the Ember. Aegis going to be popped. And Gion in a lot of trouble as well, trying to run to the side with the Blade Mill. Gets up the high ground and not quite able to escape. Meanwhile, his team getting brought down in the front side. It's Luna against the world and will go down as well. Can't stand up to that damage. It's just the support that's going to make their way out for Brown. No cancel for the TPs there. And Nicola, well, he did buy back for this one. And Stephos looking to chase him down with the Shivas, with the Gush. He's got enough slows. Doesn't even need the shard, doesn't need the anchor, as Shadow Demon will eventually make his way down into the grave as well. It's a 5-for-0 trade for Georgia Tech, even though they do give up the Aegis there. Able to take advantage of that that weak minute, that dangerous minute where, sure, you take down the Roche, but you expend a lot of your resources, a lot of your HP. You just come in with these tanky boys on Georgia Tech. The Shivas from Tide. Got Pudge just walking in with 3,000 HP. No Aghanims on the mid pudge actually, but not needed. Had plenty of damage. It's actually Tide doing majority of the work in that fight, which generally you don't see, and this isn't exactly the build that we're accustomed to seeing on Tide nowadays. There's no Vlad's build up. He's not being that, you know, just walk in front and stand at you. He's gone for that early Shivas, made sure that he can plant himself on the front line and exist throughout the fight. I mean, he's even up against a pretty significant amount of magic damage, but Sepho's proving that he doesn't need the extra armor. Excuse me, doesn't need the extra damage and regen coming through from the Vlads, the Shivas. Enough for him to plant on the front and be a nuisance to this Brown team. So might have jinxed him a little bit, saying that they were in good position. Now down 6k all of a sudden, now that we're casting this game. If you are just joining, once again, I do apologize. A little bit of a shakeup from our regularly scheduled programming. Did have University of British Columbia versus UCLA queued up for tonight, but last minute forfeit, excuse me, from UCLA. I want to keep saying rescheduled, but they waited till about 7:15 to request the reschedule, or excuse me, 8:15 to request the reschedule on an 8:30 game, and you know, when UBC can't make it there, they're gonna end up claiming the forfeit win. Now, the guys really don't like to claim forfeit wins like that. I mean, teams would much rather play these games than just get a win. Is the Shadow Step going to come through onto Ember, followed up with the Orchid, but not able to find the damage through the trees. Ember escapes. Yukola again, looks like he might just get run down. TP going to be on cooldown for 15 seconds, so no way to play his way out. The rest of the team kind of hanging around, but no real interest in defending the Shadow Demon, right? Well, they're going to throw out the Terrorize. They're going to try. Jim Abraham's making his way in as well. The Tombstone drop. Maybe Georgia Tech going to overcommit to this one slightly as they drop a couple of resources. Don't end up finding the kill, so surprisingly Shadow Demon makes his way over to the side. Let's look at Koali hunting behind the tower. Team sets up, takes down the tier 1. Koali's looking for a bigger kill than just this Dark Willow. Terrorize already expended, so not the kill he really wants to go for with this Invis Rune. And instead it looks like Georgia Tech might just think about setting up for this Tormentor. The TP's coming through, Geom's in. Gonna walk up the hill and straight into vision, but again, it's hard to take down this Primal Beast, so able to charge forward. You see that Aghanim Scepter doing some pretty good work. He finds the pick off on the Tide to the start, and that's a good one to find. Gonna allow his heroes pretty free reign. The Eclipse drop to the side, not gonna get too much done either, but it does repel Georgia Tech. So far, Brown with the 1 kill. Well, they're going to make it a second. TP does come through, so Fudge able to get his way out and up on the high ground. TP not going to come through from Jim Abraham, who does get bashed into the cliff with the ward on it. Sets Brown up for the Tormentor as well. So fighting back, Brown here. Going to be able to take their Tormentor as well. And looked like a little bit of a messy start to the fight as well. Primal just walks up the hill there and, you know, man modes his way up just straight into vision. He didn't really know what was going on. I mean, they had the observer placed out beforehand, so they see some heroes up there, but the fight just a little bit below that Ob's were. Still was able to get a pretty good uproar off with that Aghanim Scepter. I think with that, it's going to be a good time to just click through all the heroes here in the game and see where we're at 25 minutes in. I mean, skipping the first 15 minutes, I don't want to miss any of the action, but just kind of want to get a little state of the game here as Georgia Tech up about 5k, but we see top of the net worth, Luna fighting to stay relevant, fighting to stay up there as well, the BKB ready, and going to be working on the Conda. I have thought this item on Luna is a little bit of a bait, the Conda. I think it actually keeps your damage output lower than Daedalus once you do get the level 20 talent. In the mid, BKB from the Ember Spirit, but the Lasso going to hold him in place. Disruption to save for now, but the active Remnant might just expire. He's not going to be able to jump to it, but no need. As Geom rushing in on the backside, looking for the damage. Tombstone going to be dropped, but is it really enough? Geom mad moving his way through, now caught by the Orchid, caught by the Dismember as well. Ludigo focusing down the Tombstone, they'll have to settle for that one. Skipping the first couple minutes of the game. I need to warm myself up as well as we get into this one, but we'll end up just losing 1 on Brown. They do extricate Ember from that fight. Who was able to TP back to the base and reset, so still available in this mid lane, but things will settle their way back down. And just back to the prior point, Luna with the level 20 talent for the glaives on Lucent Beam does make your damage output pretty significant with the beefier crit item. So I do need to at some point actually go and test this one fully, but still feel like it's a little bit of a bait to go this combo. Ember Spirit as well, struggling to be too relevant in this game as the BKB, and we saw him forced to pop that 9-second pretty defensively in the last fight, now trying to go for a fight while it's still on cooldown for 15. But they're going to run through Smoke as 3, they're going to run into heroes up on the high ground. It is the Tide, it's not the easiest kill to find, but the Undying, well, you'll take him if you can find it, they will pick him off, no Tombstone coming out for this one. Puts down on the low ground as well, Logigo, he's ready to go for this one, the lasso dropped across onto just the support, they'll take down 2 apiece. And for now, things settling down, but Geom in on the backside, looking for that Pulverize, looking for the control in the back, has the break on the Spectre, and Drano in a bit of trouble, isolated on the front, fighting into all 3 in the cores, and no Shadow Step to get himself out of this one. He will just go down. The buyback comes through from Jim Abraham, wants to get himself back into this fight. Tombstone going to be dropped over, and now they're going to try and work. They're going to try and clean up, and look at the zombies go to town. They're going to take down everybody as Ember. Remnants to the low ground, but the zombies still going to be chasing him down, still going to find him. The TP is blocked. The hook can't find his way, so Ember will escape, but the rest of the team does go down. Georgia Tech eking that one out with the buyback coming through from Undying, a very timely one there, as the Tombstone really does turn that one around. Still did lose their Spectre in the process, so Brown doesn't end up being the worst thing in the world for them, but definitely would have liked to see more on that fight, and it's all set up by that little bit of an awkward find. I mean, sure, you find the Undying, but you're fighting into Tide up on the high ground. Never the easiest first jump there. They end up paying for it. Taking a look at the Radiant heroes at this point, but taking a look over at the Dire, it's Quali on this mid pudge. Looked earlier like he might struggle to have impact, especially without that Aghanim Scepter. Went for the early Eternal Shroud. But now with the BKB going back for that Ags, and he's snuck up in the farm, almost up at the Luna as well, 8, 3, and 9 on Quali. Looking extremely relevant with those 11 Flesh Heap stacks to his name. Just an absolute beast in the front of these fights, and he's pretty hard to take down. The damage, not the most significant coming through from Brown, so between him and the Tide Hunter, not trivial to take these heroes down. Do see the support Bat Rider coming through from Georgia Tech as well. This hero's been oddly topical, the support Bat. It's been very strong and has proven kind of the meta has shifted from the old days where before Bat Rider needed the offlane farm, the offlane XP to be able to get these items like the Blink, the Force Staff, and, you know, have impact with the lasso. Well, nowadays, on this position 4, you are able to find those items for yourself as well as the neutral item, making it very easy to get involved in the fights. And the hero as a lasso bot does really fit into the support role that it's kind of carved out for itself. The sticky napalm, not as important as it once was either, so really not looking for the damage on the Bat Rider, but instead just looking for the added control that you can provide, as well as the vision between the Firefly and between the Flame Break. And it's really been Drano who, you know, up till, you know, 25 minutes in, it looked like they might struggle a little bit, as Drano wasn't having the best time, but all of a sudden, 7-3-13, once he got that Orchid, started getting involved in kills across the map, and Drano now going to work on the Roshan Spectre, one of those heroes that getting this level 15, getting this level 20, they're both pretty impactful timings. You have very nice stack gain on the Spectre as well, so as the game does go late, pretty happy. He'll be working towards the Blood Torrent as well, so that timing going to be very strong for him. As Aegis and Roshan's banner both going to be picked up for Georgia Tech, and last hero that, well, we've been seeing the impact from fights already, and not the hero you really need to see the items on, but the Undying coming through. Has the full Greaves to his name, actually. As Drano did find a nice little pick-off with that Orchid in the meantime. Aegis in hand, pretty secure in himself. Did see the work that those Shadow Demon Illusions can provide. Geom in the mid, getting encircled a bit. Quali, fresh Aghanim Scepter delivered, but the jump down to the low ground with the Ogre Seal Totem. Geom looking to get himself out of dodge. Quali throws out the hook. It's not just going to have the length.
Oh, don't mind me. Just a wee thing.
Well, he needs to work those numbers a little bit, work that length, and he'd have that kill. They say size don't matter, but Koali's feeling the pain. 32 minutes in now, 23-17. We joined in at a pretty even game, but now up to a 10k net worth lead as well as Aegis in hand.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
For Georgia Tech, Shadow step up to the top lane just on one of the Luna illusions. As the rest of Georgia Tech will make their way over towards the top half, as you can see Brown pinned in to their own little small ancients over by the Tormentor, forced back off the map. It's just more time that Georgia Tech gonna work to grow their net worth lead. Now there is a split push effort going on in the meantime with Shadow step on cooldown. Giam feels secure enough to cut some waves down behind in the top lane, but without being able to clear off this creep wave in on the tower, tier 2 will certainly fall, and the Shadow step comes in underneath the tier 3 on the high ground. Nicola was the casualty, and that's a big one to find, not having Shadow Demon. Both means you don't have save, you don't have offensive Spectre illusions coming out either. And straight to work on the high ground. Georgia Tech are in. The creep wave has died off, and the wave behind was cut, so backdoor will be coming up at the end of this clip. Want to take this little gap in the action to mention that the University of Toronto Benchwarmers versus Michigan also currently ongoing. Go check that out on YouTube over at Michigan Esports. That one was just starting draft as we tuned in here. I got to, double check that they were actually going to broadcast that one before we did tune in over here. So should be underway now. I don't have it pulled up, but if you want to hop over to that kit, it's a fun one as well. Or better yet, pull it up on the second monitor. I believe those two series the only ones that are currently ongoing at the moment, but may just be wrong as other West Coast games do get going. In the top lane, Giam trying to charge away. There is a lasso. He'll commit it. Train up finds another as this age is continuing to pay off for him. He'd be down quick to the bot lane as Brown. They want to try and catch Georgia Tech a little bit split here, but it is the rest of the team for Georgia Tech down here. Gonna try him to tie it, but again, it's such a hard kill, and instead the hook comes across. Magic in a lot of trouble. Gonna be dismembered underneath. And will just be taking down the Remnant, able to get him to the low ground, and they'll blow the Ravage for him. No need to give up the kills there as Drano. Another Shadow Step came through, looking for this Dark Willow, looking for both supports, honestly. Gonna be disrupted for the time being, and Kong trying to run his way back towards the fountain, and will make it. Drano taking some damage underneath the tier 3. Force Staff gets him down to the low ground, and things will settle out from there. But straight away up onto the high ground for Georgia Tech. They started in the top lane, now with no glyph. They're going to be gathered in the bot. It looks like there's going to be little defense for this tier 3 tower. It's all going to have to hinge on Giam here. So hard for the Primal Beast to get in, especially with that anchor coming through. Need Luna to kill this one off for you, as attack speed not really there for Primal Beast, but in the meantime the racks are falling. Drano just going to town. Now the jump onto the backside. It's the Shadow Demon yet again. Silenced up by the Orchid. Damage will eventually take him down. The Eclipse dropped on the front side. Spectre broken up, but it's not going to matter. It's Dismember. Oh, maybe it will. The damage. Where'd that come from onto the Spectre? Does go down. Logigo, he's trying to live through it all. He's not going to, and no buyback on the Luna. Momentary scare for Georgia Tech, but at the end of the day, they have the tools, they have the resources, and the damage to take down these Brown heroes. They'll clean up the racks, and just about going to be the game with that one. I mean, up to a 22k net worth lead suddenly, and the quick disconnect from Kurt. Not really a BM. I'm imagining he just dropped here, but they won't need him to finish this one out. Georgia Tech pretty confident that they've got this one in the bag, and rightfully so. Drano ready to go into the fountain for the extra kills. Giam, well, doesn't die to the dispersion, and now broken up on the Spectre. A little bit awkward. Drano able to get himself away, but a little bit of extra ambition, potentially delaying this game. Instead, Giam does go down, the tip comes through. And even with the Bat Rider in the fountain, Good game. Gonna be called, so game number 1. 31 minutes. Gonna go the way of Georgia Tech. Couple of scares there for Georgia Tech. I mean, there was a couple times where Brown really did swing the momentum in their favor, and it's kind of a shame we didn't get to tune in for the start of this game because it looked like it was a pretty close early game, a pretty tight one when we did join. So, just want to check that out real quick. Actually, well, yeah, we can check out these graphs here. Yeah, even all the way up through until, you know, that 25-minute mark, and then Georgia Tech really did just take it. Gonna throw you over here and just get rid of these team logos for now. Oh, it's even dark where I am. That's right. I didn't even set up my room properly. We might just have to join off the ticket. I'm not sure that we'll be able to get into the lobby. It depends on what the lobby's situation is looking like. So bear with me here as we get in. I did want to take us around the horn a little bit. So let me see if I don't have a standings page pulled up. And yeah, here we go. So your most up-to-date standings coming through here. Sorry about that. Really was some last-minute shuffling here. Anyway, your most up-to-date standings coming through here. So a little bit of a shakeup. I haven't had the standing set up, and it still says week 2. Oops, that's my bad. Anyway, Toronto Boundless still undefeated at the moment, and it looks like it might just remain that way. I mean, they've shown to be a pretty strong team, not only undefeated in series, but undefeated in the league as well, or undefeated in games in the league as well. Georgia Tech up there as well, undefeated in terms of series. Did lose that one game to... Ooh, am I going to remember who they lost it to? They did lose... I think they lost it to UMN, actually. I think they lost to the University of Minnesota, who has since dropped out of the league. A couple extra forfeits from them coming through, making things all the dangerous. All the more dangerous. Sorry, I've just gotten the message here that Disunity is subbing in for Georgia Tech yet again. Did see him playing the last time that we cast Georgia Tech, I believe. Saw Disunity in. Anyway, just to run through the rest of the standings here. USF is third place in that East Coast division. Did lose to University of Toronto. Did lose to Georgia Tech. So they got their tough games out of the way. Unfortunately, weren't able to secure wins during them, but they can't be too unhappy regardless, because USF really have proven to be quite the strong team. Actually, sorry, they haven't played Georgia Tech. That's wrong. They have this double forfeit in against Conestoga. That's what it is from last week. That I'm still working on double checking if that is accurate. That is the last thing that I will say about the standings before kind of just walking us through the rest of it is... there's been some extra forfeits. There's been some double forfeits that I'm still working on confirming. So the standings is accurate as far as reported results, but still a little bit subject to change. The last week or 2 games haven't quite settled, and since I've been sick the last week, I've not been following along as closely as I typically would. So not able to correct those records immediately for us. But yeah, so like I was saying, this 4th place slot here, Brown, Indiana, Rochester. Really have been the 4 teams hanging around. RIT been struggling a little bit recently, so maybe falling out of that discussion. But looked like Indiana was in shape to take this number 4 slot. They were talking about holding the tiebreaker, as they have beaten Brown earlier in the season. And, you know, this game looked pretty good from Brown, this game number 1, but weren't able to close it out. They really do need a series win at some point this season, and Georgia Tech would be a great team to do it against for Brown. And then we did talk about University of Minnesota is all but out. I think they have officially withdrawn from the league, but we'll make sure that of that one more time before, you know, continuing to report on it. And Columbia is still struggling down there at the bottom of the groups, but playing along nicely, and we always appreciate seeing them play. Over on the West Coast side of things, we were supposed to be casting the UBC game today, and they've claimed a lot of forfeit wins this season, UBC. Guys, like I was saying, aren't too happy about it. They'd like to play games more than they'd like to secure wins, but it's going to move them up to 5-0 at the conclusion of tonight, and you know, that is one way to stay undefeated. Continuing there, Toronto Benchwarmers, holding up the Toronto reputation as they too are undefeated. So the East Coast and West Coast right now still topped by University of Toronto teams. Just crazy at this point in the season. We are 3/4 of the way done with the season. Each of these teams going to play 8 series in total. Each of them currently sitting at 6-0. And, you know, that's a hell of a way to get your organization going, is to win both divisions. Michigan as well has been a surprisingly bright spot over in the West. If you asked me before the season, you know, who the top teams, who the power teams are going to be in the West, I would have told you University of Toronto is going to be up there. I would have told you UBC, having won the entirety of last season, would have been, you know, that top spot. And then I would have told you UCSD would have been a power team. And UCSD, you can see them sitting in 6th place here, 2-3 over this season so far. And they've really been struggling. Their team feels pretty disorganized. They feel like they don't play together and just a little bit disjointed. They do have skilled players on the team, and they're not lacking in mechanical skill at all, but, you know, they're just lacking some of that coordination. They're not able to close out games. They've played a bunch of long ones. And all of a sudden, Michigan up there at 4-1 in the series. You see that they have a lot of long games. They have a lot of long series, 9-4 in the games, but at the end of the day, they're able to close out series when it matters. Takes them up to 4-1 and, you know, hovering the top of that group stage. UCLA as well up there for now, but 3-2, they're going to lose tonight in terms of a forfeit, so going to drop them down, and tiebreak's going to be pretty hellish because with all the forfeits, with all the traded series, I really don't know who's where. MSU hanging around as well, so it's going to be MSU, UCLA, UCSD battling it out for that playoff spot down the stretch, and going to have to make sure we pay attention there. And kind of just the last point, Seneca, University of Illinois, and Cal Poly Pomona have been struggling this season. Seneca's looked pretty good at times, especially considering that they're one of the lower ranked teams in the entire league. But they've looked good and they've put up competitive games. Unfortunately, kind of the inverse of Michigan, they're just not able to close out series when they need them, and it's a rough time when that happens down there at 1-4. But playing their series, playing well, and you gotta love watching those guys play. Gonna hop over to the draft. We do have game number 2 getting underway here. Let's see if we can't get the hook for the draft overlay, please. Let me just toss it back over here. Sorry, I'm really not set up for this at all, as you can probably tell. I think I know what went wrong with it. I think it's at a different address at the moment. No, maybe not. Don't know what's going on. Let me debug this a little bit. Draft is going on, and if this continues for too long, I will show it off. And here we go. All right. Just go ahead and send this over. Let me update the logos as well. It is brown on the Radiant, so I will be able to show you that one in just a moment. Let me just go ahead and change those logos. So we do have Georgia Tech over here. We do have brown over here. Look at that. I had those teams queued up like perfectly. That's pretty funny. I always have to go hunting for these. So brown qualifies over IU. I see Altius talking. Yeah, sorry on the delay, so not talking about it just now. And it should be Indiana over Brown in terms of tiebreakers. I can just double check that now while I'm live and saying the correct thing. But yeah, Indiana did take their season series 2-1 over Brown. So in the event of a tie, right, your first tiebreaker for this year's playoffs is going to be that head-to-head record. So Indiana would qualify over Brown for that 4th place spot if needed. As I can just go ahead and do this, just while I'm talking about it as well, and then I promise we'll be into the game. can just go ahead and cover my beautiful mug now. But yeah, in terms of it, right now, Brown is not over Indiana. It's just the way that the standings are currently organized because of the game score, and you can see. Yeah, that's actually an interesting one. Brown, I have in from the official results at 7-4, and this is something I meant to check in on, and I think that's actually just wrong. I don't really know where that came from. Brown is what? It looks like 3-8. So I don't really know where that record came from. Digging into their profile a little bit, that's not what it looks like to me. No, I do see some extra wins in there, but their record like is in different state at different different kind of ways that you dig into it. So again, like I was saying, haven't really been following along as closely as I normally do recently, just because I have been sick over the last week. So the game score is a little bit funky right now, and I think because some of the forfeit wins and losses have been recorded strangely, they're not quite settled, so the results aren't exactly final, but they should give you a pretty good overview of what the league does look like at the moment. This is a round 6 game. Tonight did start round number 7 as well. 9 rounds total in the league, and each team does get a bye somewhere in there. So we're wrapping up the end of the regular season next week. With the end of the regular season, I'll have a totally up-to-date playoffs picture as well, and that'll be kind of the last thing to look for. But I think the biggest takeaway is for those teams on the fringe. You know, every series is going to be an important one, and Brown, I mean, they're definitely going to be feeling the pressure to come back this game number 2. So I think that's where we leave it. And looking at their draft, they did go with the Shadow Demon again. I think they're feeling like they've got a good lineup. I mean, they went for the Faceless Void Invoker combo. Pretty classic one, right? You set up the Cataclysm inside of the Chronosphere. Great for the team fight. Shadow Demon to save against the Bat Rider as well. So pretty comfy matchup. They got it game number 1. They got it game number 2. And I'm sure Brown were feeling good as well, coming in dead even 25 minutes into game number 1 against a powerhouse team in Georgia Tech. I mean, it's hard to complain if you're Brown. It's a very good showing from them. So I think no cause for alarm, no cause for concern. Just gonna stick with what they know, stick with what they can do. Banned out a couple of heroes they felt were problematic, you know, in the Spectre. I like that they took out the Kunkka. I like they took out the Pugna. These are, you know, heroes that Georgia Tech play all the time. Lots of Kunkka coming through, lots of Pugna. Jim Abraham loves that Pugna hero. In Georgia Tech, they're going to pick up a PA. Is PA not exactly the premier Drano carry? Not the hero that you do think of him on, but is a pretty fun one to be playing, and I'm sure he plays it well. I mean, it's not the hardest thing in the world. So don't mean it that way either. We'll give my my shout out. I said there was the last one, but go ahead and do this as well. Go check out Michigan's YouTube. That's at Michigan University Esports. But go check this out. They are currently live with the middle of game number 1, Michigan versus University of Toronto. They've been casting all the Michigan games. It's more of a home broadcast. It's a fun feel. They know the Michigan guys, and you know, go ahead and root for Michigan while you're there. It's definitely way more fun. Definitely way more fun than rooting for the other team. Though I suppose if you're a Toronto fan and you're used to watching my stream, go and clown on some of the takes that they have, as you might agree, you might disagree. It's a fun time though. I have watched some of the Michigan games on their channel, by the way, when they are the only game going on, just to keep myself current. And it is funny because their team is like the one team that plays these hour-long games consistently. Had someone ask me the other day, what the longest game was in NACE, and it had me going on this like little, you know, 15-20 minute stat finding like journey down memory lane, all the way back to CSL Starleague 2018-19, I think is the earliest games on Dota Buff, and so just dug through there. Michigan doesn't own the longest game, but they do have 3 of them over an hour this season. And that is the most. I believe there's only been 5 this season over an hour. Michigan has 3 of them. And I really, really hope that this game that they've got going on now just goes to 60 minutes somehow miraculously, and, you know, the whole series as well. They've had a couple of like 4.5-hour series already this season on Michigan. It's been a lot of fun to watch those. It's been super chaotic. You know, weeknight series go until 1:30 in the morning, and a lot of fun. Last thoughts on this draft. The last pick, Pudge, did come through again for Georgia Tech, so they were feeling happy about that one, though this time not going to send it to the mid lane, as Quali's going to take the puck there, and it looks like it's going to be the off lane Pudge picked up for their substitute. Second week in a row, or at least second cast in a row, I should say, that Disunity is going to be filling in. This time not on the carry, as Drano does exist this week, but we'll be taking the Pudge to the off lane. And I'm sure he wanted the hero, you know, get to fill in, get to play around. It's a lot of fun. Brown did respond with that last pick, Timbersaw. Gee, I'm going to be handling that one in the off lane, most likely. Should be taking it there. And I think it's a pretty good pick this game. It's not the easiest hero to take down, though you do have some issues in the puck in the Wyvern where you can get found. So it's not the freest game where you're able to just, you know, kind of zip around the entire map. But what you do provide for your team is this frontline hero on the Timber where enemy team will be jumping in. Like you can walk forward, you can Timber chain in, you can even go the Blink Timber, where you just draw all the focus to you. You get a couple heroes to jump. All of a sudden, you have this counter initiation threat with the Faceless Void, with the Chronosphere, where you do have just extreme pressure to put. So it's hard to jump on the Timbersaw in this game if you're Georgia Tech, just for fear of having the entire Brown team just counter initiate on you, and that's really what they do best. So I think this Timber pick is very reasonable in that it enables that style of gameplay where you have a target that can just be consistently showing on map and can get away with a lot of things in this game that, you know, a squishier hero or a hero that doesn't take very much commit to take down wouldn't be able to play that way. So having this presence offlaner that can show is a bigger deal than I think some people give it credit for. It's very easy to say, yeah, it's you know, it's not the easiest Timber game or whatever, because you might just struggle to, you know, get things done on the Timber, because on its face you have to deal with these problems in the puck, in the Wyvern, you know, with the Dream Coil getting you. Even the Lasso can be a little bit annoying for Timber to deal with, but all these resources that do get dumped his way aren't being used to handle that second line of initiation coming through. And that's really where Brown's going to look to thrive in this game. Drano's middle mouse is broken. Hopefully he's not a middle mouse camera. You know, just go ahead and use WASD. See, the players are are coming to that conclusion on their own. It is kind of funny. I wonder if Drano's broken his middle mouse on his actual mouse, because otherwise I'd imagine he wouldn't be in the game at the moment. He'd be restarting his client. Have to say, I've not broken, and as soon as I say this, right, it's gonna happen, but I've not broken a mouse, and I've used the same one for like 5 years at this point. Thousands of hours in Dota logged on this mouse. About 1 million middle mouse presses. So I'm like Drano, I'm a middle mouse enjoyer, and I spam my camera everywhere. Horn sounds, a little bit of contest coming through. A lot of spells going to be off the mark, and the bounty rune gets denied. Oh, you love to see it. Yukola takes it down. Too funny. But yeah, it is a little bit ironic, because I do spam my camera around a lot when I play Dota, and then I come in and observe and try and be as smooth as possible with the camera work, and it's one of the things that when I was learning to cast, that was kind of my impact point when I started casting, was like, people really do the camera poorly. And then you look at pro games and you can go, you know, sure, observer lull, but the pro observers really do a good job of it. Not only finding all of the kills, but keeping the game smooth and you know, everything like that. So I think that's, you know, just kind of interesting dichotomy how, you know, playing and casting really are two different brains, even though they are the same game. Anyway, into the game. This mid lane matchup is one that we don't see too often anymore nowadays, honestly. The Invoker versus the Puck. So we see Magic get extremely unlucky with that deny. The uphill miss from Koali, right? I think I saw him throw that projectile and lost the CS for it. But we don't see too much Invoker mid nowadays, honestly. It's a very traditional matchup. We see Exort Invoker going to be coming through for Magic, as we'll look to transition into the Cataclysm later on into the game. But yeah, over the years of Dota, we've seen the resurgence and the subsequent re-death of the Quaswex Invoker buildup. Most recently, we've had the innovation of the right-click style Invoker, where you can go for these items like the Bloodthorn, now that Invoker is the universal hero, and actually put pressure on heroes by just right-clicking, but still not the premier mid laner that Invoker once was. Definitely pickable, though. Taking a look over through the side lanes as this game does get going. So far, things pretty even across the board, and it's real Drano standing in for Georgia Tech. Now, funny enough, there is the actual Drano over in the safe lane. But yeah, it is Disunity playing the off lane here for Georgia Tech. And if I remember what Kurt was telling me, the Georgia Tech captain, he was telling me that Disunity doesn't really play pubs anymore. He just kind of exists as a stand-in for their team now, and these officials is about all he plays now. Haven't checked out his Dota buff, haven't, you know, confirmed that myself, but I have no real reason to doubt that coming through. Did see him stand in earlier in the season for the safe lane of Georgia Tech. They did actually win the series that he stood in as well on the safe lane. Doing pretty well on the bot side for now on this off lane Pudge. Gonna struggle a bit later on in this lane against this Faceless Void. It's hard to contest for CS as a melee hero against the Faceless once the levels start to come through. And even with the Bat Rider in the lane, it's not an easy time. I mean, you're against Shadow Demon Faceless Void. This is an extremely strong lane coming through for Brown. So should have a pretty great time there, Logigo. I never actually got the insight there, his name. Logigo? Every time I look at it, I think of it differently, and cast too many of these games where I know I say it different series to series as well. Saw Magic deny off the other Water Rune with the Forge Spirit, so Koali gonna go without for this 4-minute timing. Nice play there from Magic. Did suffer a little bit for the creeps running under his tower, but he'll be happy enough with that one. Up on the top side, G on 1 point in the reactive armor and should be staying there. We've even seen players recently. Let's hold that thought, Drano. Real Drano down. That's gonna piss me off. Oh my goodness. I'm not gonna remember the Disunity. I keep looking at hero names and it's gonna ruin me. What can you do? But we have seen Timbersaws just skip altogether this reactive armor point. And how the hero has changed in the last couple of years is, you know, prior to, I guess, what was it, 2 patches ago, right? Players would nearly always be maxing the reactive armor as your main laning tool, the reason that you could sit in lane for as long as you wanted. And nowadays not even picked up in all games. Really is just a crazy, crazy thing. And it's one of those things that we love about Dota, and maybe some of us hate about Dota too, but you know, you gotta love it when the game can shake up so much that heroes that were cores, like the Bat Rider, can become supports, when skill builds that were meta can become atrociously bad, where if you max reactive armor nowadays, you are borderline just throwing your game. Dota does always keep things interesting in that regard. 6-minute power runes spawn up, and Magic wins the 50-50 here. Brown getting rewarded by Gaben. That's called a skill rune right there. Grabs the shield rune. Gonna be pretty secure in this mid, and it's a pretty good rune to have, actually, not having the bottle as well, because should just let him be stationary without feeling forced to make a rotation. Down bottom, Yukola in some trouble. The Firefly over the top. Gonna eventually melt him down, but it is Disunity who had 4 Shadow Poison stacks. Quali with the rotation, gonna clean up the second kill. And the first blood did go Pudge's way, so Georgia Tech very happy with that trade. Still, Brown at least salvaging something out of that one by getting the return kill onto Pudge. So Disunity falling will at least be some trade. Seven-minute runes come up, and Colin grabs one wisdom rune, the other one chilling for the time being, and we'll see at what point someone does go back for that one. But 2-1 early on this game. Things relatively stationary here, and Invoker not looking to rotate too soon. See if he does opt for the Midas, or if he's going to go straight for an item like the Boots of Travel. Got significant pressure in the mid off the back of that rotation from Koali, so despite getting the kills down there, his mid tower will be going down in the near-term future. Hooked down in the bot lane, Yukola forced to use the disruption early. 3 Shadow Poison stacks actually coming out for Pudge. It is the level 2 Shadow Poison. Make it a 4th stack. See if he can't get 5 before he does go down. He will end up going down. Does get the 5th stack off. 500 HP for the Pudge, and see if he's going to take out the extra right click from Faceless might just be enough. And no, 60 HP for Disunity. Is able to live on that one. Hook hits the creep. Logigo thinking about it. Oh, up to the top side, the TP comes through, and Drano able to get 1 kill, blinks over, the coil snaps, and the second kill will go their way as well. Quali continuing to make valuable rotations. This one up to the top lane. So both side lanes going to be feeling the love from their mid laner. It's Georgia Tech pull ahead a little bit in this game, and down bottom, Yukola was able to find the kill, but does get traded out. Still, second kill onto the Pudge in this lane, going to relieve the pressure off Logigo for the time being. Wisdom Rune, by the way, still chilling in the jungle. Looks like Kurt going to remember that one and head back, grab his level 6. Not quite. 1 creep away. But we'll have the lasso to work with shortly. So we see both carries actually making their way back to the jungle as the pressure gets mounted in their respective lanes. Drano, top of the net worth board. Pretty good progress towards the Battle Fury on top of the treads already. So going to be pretty happy with how his game's going. Meanwhile, down on the bot side, Logigo working for the Maelstrom. Typical build-up for the Faceless Void, but for now hanging around near his tier 1 tower, under it for the time being, but Winter's Curse going to be dropped. They've got the lasso to work with as well as the Dismember, and they're going to drop all 3. Why not? Trifecta of ults do come through to take down the Faceless Void. Might halt the pressure against the tier 1 tower, though, so you'll always take the kill on the carry, but at some point, you got to wonder if it is worthwhile or not. If they're going to be able to stick around and take this tower down, or if Timber's going to be able to make his way down here and defend it, having taken the tier 1 top already. Might make things a little bit awkward for Georgia Tech if he does decide to come defend this one. Instead, the TP from Faceless back down here, and don't really like this play. I think this is a pretty contested area at the time being. Not sure Logigo's going to find valuable farm down here, but to bring in the supports as well. Maybe going to try and get him involved with an early Chronosphere now that he's level 6 on the Faceless. Just some awkward play here early on. Just want to see Brown set their Faceless up for success instead of kind of shunting him away to this little side camps. But we'll be hanging around the lane for now. Have to be oh so careful on the Faceless down here. Still be happy enough to take the farm on this double wave. I mean, why not? They're going to give it to you. Like I said, with the ult on cooldown, don't really want to push too hard for the tower. Meanwhile, on the top side, Gion doing what he can to make sure Drano doesn't get the farm under his tower freely. Not able to keep the siege creep alive, but not the biggest priority for the time being. And over in mid, see Magic did opt to go for the Midas. Going to work back towards an Orchid as well, and pretty farmed up on the Invoker. Going to be getting the levels in check as well. Take a look over at Quell. He's still working on that Witchblade. But up there in the net worth as well, bottles up a nice Arcane Rune for himself. And see where Quali does decide to go with this one. I'd imagine he'll clear out this mid wave and make a rotation to one of the side lanes. Continue to stay involved. And actually pops the Arcane here early on. So just going to chill it down. Push out the mid. So we see the supports. 4 Georgia Tech smoking through. Still in the mid lane, nobody home. Look to just get some pressure on this mid tower, but the hunt is on. Drano in his jungle. The TP's coming through, and it's the Power Ranger TPs. It's going to be all 5 heroes coming in, but the Sunstrike takes him down. Oh no, Drano falling. They're going to grab return kills for this one. Lion not able to bail his buddy out. The Winter's Curse. It's going to end up being a 3-for-1, so Georgia Tech not getting shafted at the end of the day, but looked like PA was going to get out. The Sunstrike comes through, nails him. See if we weren't able to catch that Sunstrike. Nope, looks like the replays aren't quite working. RIP. I wonder why that didn't work. That's so strange. I've actually not had that one happen before. Oh, the Chronosphere down bottom. The TP came through from Drano. Oh, and it's into the face of danger. That's back to back on the PA. Never like to see that one. Huh. Strange. Drano a little bit off his game today, I suppose. Generally one of the most stable carry players in the league, Drano. We saw it game number 1 as well on the Spectre. Playing a hero that does have a harder time early on in lane and becomes much easier to play as the game does go on. And very nicely, I believe he had 3 deaths on the Spectre overall and ended up getting a ton of kills to close out game number 1. But the deaths back-to-back gonna hurt PA pretty bad, and with the Battle Fury trying to take some Ancient stacks, Giom's on that one. Trying to snatch these stacks away. Has the Brown supports with him as well. Magic was getting hunted in the meantime, but able to get the Ghost Walk. Very messy, very awkward engagement. Underneath the Sentry Ward is Invoker, and Magic in some trouble. The Disruption, trying to get him out of town. Finger comes through. They'll end up trading. Couple of kills, couple of supports. It ends up being another 3-for-1. But the Ancient stack was snatched from Drano. They're able to get Invoker out of there. At the end of the day, it looks like a slight victory for Georgia Tech, but net worth getting stolen away from Drano. It's going on to the other heroes on his team instead. PA with the Battle Fury. Gonna need another item or two to get involved too heavily into this game, but big deal that he is surviving through that fight, as when I first pulled the camera over there, it looked like Giam might be looking for the kill instead of just looking for the ancient creeps. Third death there for PA would have been disastrous, let me tell you. Coming up on 16 minutes into this game, Rune's going to spawn, and, well, not the skill rune for Magic this time. The regen's going to spawn bot. Kurt holding on to this one for now, see if they can't bottle it up. Has the lasso to work with on top, or doesn't have the lasso, but has the Blink Dagger lasso coming up in a couple of seconds. Scary time. It's a pretty early Blink Dagger coming through for this Bat Rider on the support position. So it looks like they'll group up in the mid and maybe think about smoking with this Blink Dagger instead. Up in the top, the Chronosphere drop down onto Puck. The Sunstrike not coming through, though. So Koali just going to be able to drop the Dream Coil, try and get away using the Orb. The Disruption comes through. Koali not able to jump to it, so he just goes down. Did see the trade in the meantime, as Invoker did fall over to Disunity. That's why we didn't see the Sunstrike come through, as Invoker was otherwise engaged. Still no harm, no foul, and the mid laners will be traded out 1-for-1. Tier 1 in the mid will go down at the end of the day for Brown. Georgia Tech finally able to claim that one for themselves. As Disunity on Pudge this time, also delaying the Aghanim Scepter, going for this Eternal Shroud. So I wonder if this is a new standard, if this is something that's being done more generally across the board, or if Georgia Tech just have some read into this Eternal Shroud build-up. On the off-lane Pudge, it's more understandable to me than on the mid, because you don't need that instant impact on the damage. The last are going to come through as Yakola just looking to get the disruption through onto Pudge. Instead, will pay with his life. But on the off-lane Pudge, you don't necessarily need the damage as early on as in the mid, so more understandable. But we did see Koali go for a similar build-up game number 1 on the mid Pudge. Logigo able to dodge out the hook, but not going to be able to dodge out the Winter's Curse. There's no Dismember to work with. Logigo able to time walk his way down to the low ground. And a little incursion by Georgia Tech into the triangle. Not going to yield any fruit. As it's actually Giam making his way over. Brown thinking about trying to chase this one down. And Disunity stunned up by the Cold Feet. Still, the damage not exactly connecting. It's Koali on the front lines making things a little bit awkward. The hook off the mark might just spell the end of this engagement. So both teams will walk away. But Drano in the backside, look at this. Desolator's ready. He's going to jump forward onto Lion, find the kill. Look for more now, the extension. They already have the Sentry Ward drop down, not even needed in the mid as Invoker goes down. And third kill as the Timber Chain going to be off the mark. Giam will fall. Said Drano was going to need a couple of items to get involved. Well, he finished that Desolator and comes perfect timing for that wraparound. 3 kills for him. Now up to 6-2. Top of the net worth by far. Drano looks like he's got the shard coming out for him on the Courier as well. And gonna look to just snowball this lead into an early game 2 victory. Georgia Tech probably not too happy that game number 1 was even for as long as it was, as they do and they should feel like one of the premier teams in this league. Now looking to slam the door on Brown, as don't want to give him any hope in this game number 2 to come back and force a game 3 in the series. TP's coming through in the top lane, the Orchid. Drop down onto Puck. The Chronosphere going to be dropped as well. Not pushed out of it by the Deafening Blast, thankfully. So Logigo able to take the kill down. Had nightmares for a brief moment. The fails of the week coming through Sunspan, Synderen. They haven't done one of those in ages, right? But Remember those clips, and that would have been up there. Push the free kill on the puck out of the chronosphere with the deafening blast. One of those things that, you know, it happens sometimes, but you never want it to happen to you. Always happen to somebody else, please. Roshan going to be started up by Georgia Tech, but the read is there from Brown. They've got the scan. Going to drop the Sunstrike, scout out the Roshan going on. Already smoked up and making their way down, so with that Sunstrike coming through, Georgia Tech might not expect them so soon. As the support's going to make their way back into the pit, they're going to be flying blind here. The smoke did expire, so underneath the ward, it did show on Brown, and Georgia Tech going to get out of the pit. Establish some positioning up on the high ground, but it is Jim Abraham. Caught out in the trees, jumped and find him, but able to fly up. The Dragon looking to get up the high ground and will make it. The Sunstrike clipped him. Not quite enough to take him down. Still very low on the Wyvern. But the first kill, Yukola, 70 HP, able to self-disrupt. Gets a couple of spells off before he goes down. Will end up taking down Kuali. Just gets nuked from the low ground as the Earth Spike clicks through. That's a defensive Winter's Curse, but they're able to take down GM on the front. Very messy engagement from both sides for now as the hook connects, and they'll take down Lion as well. Invoker going to be last to fall as he's left alone, and the cleanup crew is in for Georgia Tech. No Chronosphere, so not able to bring Faceless Void over to the fight. Still working on recovering his farm. And eventually Brown just run out of resources in that engagement, but very, very messy fight for Georgia Tech still. But really, it all boils down to that Winter's Curse from Jim Abraham. Uses it relatively defensively, hold heroes back, but Timbersaw not being caught in it means that you've just allowed your team to focus entirely on the Timber, take him down before the rest of the team gets freed up from that Winter's Curse. And now Drano's hunting, looking for Yukola. Disruption, he's blocked himself in the trees. Drano's looking, no blink available just yet. Now he's got it. But Logiga, well, he's looking. Not quite finding. It's kind of close. Drano recognizing that he's got to be a little bit careful. Has the BKB queued up, and that'll be coming out pretty shortly for him. So might just hold off on any new engagements until the BKB comes through. Looks like it's coming out on the courier now, actually, as Mithril Hammer already was in his inventory, so coming out even a little bit earlier than I expected. Brown continuing to show support to push out these lanes, and it's giving Georgia Tech a lot of information, a lot of potential jumps. Still not too much they can do about it, as no real better way to clear waves from them. I talked in the draft about how Timbersaw was going to be this man in the front. Can't go on him, otherwise you're going to get engaged upon. Well, with a 10,000 gold lead for Georgia Tech, they're not really feeling scared to jump on a Timber, and Brown recognized that. They know they can't sit the Timber in front like if they were ahead or if they were even. So it's forcing the supports to play a little bit more aggressively than they would prefer to, and we've seen the last couple of fights, the positioning has not been great for them in the team fights. Keep the supports alive while the cores do go to town. BKB is available for Drano. Double damage rune in the bot side will be scouted out by Georgia Tech. Quali see if he takes this one for himself, and he will. I think there is a world where you give this over to PA, even though it is only 24 minutes into the game. There's a world where you give the bottle over to PA and try and even potentially force a high ground with the idea that PA will just be able to blow up even Faceless Void caught out of position. Still another tier 2 tower going to go down without any contest, and it's Drano hunting. He was following the courier, but will retreat as the blur does run out. His team has made it up to the high ground, by the way, in the meantime. Jim Abraham keeping the creep alive, but Georgia Tech will respect it and back off. Creep wave being cut in the meantime, so not too many options to play with, as Brown doing a pretty good job stalling out this game, cutting waves, and Saw it in game number 1 as well. They did a pretty reasonable job in this sort of position at playing the map despite being down net worth. This game, though, things are looking a little bit harder. Drano, quick TP. Didn't want to commit the Chronosphere into the Aegis PA. So not going to be able to do much more there. Tormentor did go down. Demonic Cleanse grabbed up, and Cleanse is actually pretty good. You're able to take off the sticky, you're able to take off some of the slows that get tossed around as well. Take off Dismember, actually, right? No, Strong Dispels. You'd think I would know, right? Drano, Freebie. You'd think I'd know, having played this game so much, what spells need Strong Dispel, Weak Dispel, but I feel like I still have to check every game. This is why I need an analyst. Accepting applications for the Cinder into my Suns fan. I hate everything.
Radiant's top tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Oh boy, guys.
Radiant's top tower.
No one messaged for 20 minutes in the game. Like, I know we're on 5 minutes late. It's been 20 minutes in the game. And I think the freaking game audio was muted the entire time. No one said that. No one said anything. God damn it. You know what? It's been a week. It's not been a great game from Brown. It's not been a great game from me. It's fine. We all gotta get back into form after a week off, right? Dota's just like any other sport that way, where even a little bit of time off can feel like an age. Oh, Dreamcoil gonna be off the mark. GM trying to make his way away, but with the lasso in hand. Well, oh no, Kirk doesn't have the lasso. Missed when this one was used. The hook's able to find him regardless. GM will be going down. Jim Abraham was a little bit far extended, but able to get himself out of trouble with the Winter's Curse. Drano with the Haste Rune running in, looking for the Faceless Void. We'll find the dagger, the blink, when they've got the lasso to work with. Not even needed. That's a pretty quick kill with the Basher coming out. Drano, who needs skill when you've got luck? Make sure you hit those bashes on your Stifling Dagger. Aegis has been reclaimed. Drano up on the high ground, though. No fear. BKB gonna be popped. He's gonna jump underneath the tier 4 towers. Why the hell not? Blur, the Sunstrike gonna land over the top, but Golden Brace gonna keep him healthy for now. Drano able to walk it off. Even gonna head back up about half HP, but with Pair dead on Brown's side. Well, he's thinking about it. Eventually, Faceless Void will be spawning, so forced to retreat for now. But 27-8 here, 15,000 gold lead up for Georgia Tech. It's been not quite the same as game number 1 here in this game, too. Georgia Tech dominant from pretty much the get-go. Brown started off with a couple of good kills onto PA, but it's been the Drano show ever since. This really is something to celebrate, something to talk about, as Drano started off 1-2 and now up to 13-2. Brown looking for signs of life, but not able to take down the Pudge. Now Koali with the jump in. Eventually they will find the one. Gong goes down. Winter's Curse gonna catch out the team, and this is the angle they're looking for. Buyback gonna come through immediately. Logigo, he's in, but the one-man chrono not gonna be enough. He even jumped out of the chrono, so Drano able to get involved with some of the heroes onto the side. Suddenly 4 kills, and GG gonna be called. Not saving the rampage for Drano, but not gonna be needed as the game will end here 30 minutes in. 33-8 gonna be your final score series. Gonna go 2-0 Georgia Tech's way, and they'll make it a quick one. That will be the end of your series. I don't really have any graphics queued up for us here, but don't really need them. That's going to be the end of the cast tonight, as well, as we did get started with just the late series here. Gonna give it a quick double check, see if any other games actually did fire tonight, because I am kind of interested, and it looks like no. Looks like it's just Michigan versus University of Toronto. So that series is still underway. Do make sure you check that out. I think that you know, Michigan did Michigan, wow, Brown did have a pretty good showing that game number 1, and game 2 we saw the Georgia Tech that we've come to know and expect over the course of the season. They're gonna retain their undefeated record so far in this league. Have dropped games, but still far 5-0 on the season. So taking a look here, they're going to move up from 4-0 to 5-0. Brown going to drop to 2-4, and that's going to put Indiana back in pretty prime position to take over this 4th spot, depending on how their next couple of games go. So seeing a lot of security up at the top spot, where there's a couple of matchups that I still am interested in watching. The rest of the league want to see that game between University of Toronto, Georgia Tech. Do want to see the Toronto versus British Columbia matchup as well when those do come out. So gonna make sure to bring you those series. But these battles for this 4th place playoff spot in both the East Coast and the West Coast divisions are really starting to heat up as we approach the end of this season. So gonna keep our eyes on that one as time goes. I'm gonna be updating this standings as often as I can, as well as new games come through, as forfeits get officialized and you know, get taken away. So make sure to show you that as often as possible, as well as we do have just one more week of the regular season before we get into the playoffs. And so you can see in that graphic there, top 8 teams going to qualify. So it's going to be an exciting one. Do have yeah, Michigan versus University of Toronto. Looks like they're in the break, so game number 2 starting up literally right now. I just pulled it up as they're starting, so do go make sure you check them out. I'm gonna be done for today, so YouTube at Michigan University Esports. I think I'm actually zoomed out here. So go check out Michigan University Esports over on YouTube. Currently live, not with University of Texas B, but with University of Toronto Benchwarmers. That's the team they're playing. Looks like Toronto did take game number 1, and I saw that one was a 45-minute game. So we're going to be looking for a Michigan special, where they're able to take game number 2 in over an hour and force a game number 3. Everyone that's watching here, make sure you go check that one out right now. If you are on the delay, you'll be able to hop in there during the back half of the draft. So make sure you find that one. It's going to be a lot of fun, and support the Michigan guys. They've been doing a great job so far in this season, getting the casts going, and it's definitely a big help for me when, you know, other series are taken, so we can have some more comprehensive coverage around the league. So yeah, that's it for me. I mean, that's all I have. It was a little bit last minute, so thanks everyone for bearing with me as well. If you're still here, go check out that other stream, and until then, stay happy, stay cool. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Why you keep playing?